Hello, everyone. We are live from ESPC 2024 in Stockholm. And the last day of the conference, Copilot is, of course, a big topic, as with every Microsoft conference. But the thing we hear a lot is oversharing is a major blocker to actually not only buying Copilot, but also deploying it to all the organization. And in the past year, Microsoft has done a tremendous work with adding a ton of features to help us with that. Data access governance reports, everyone except external user report and more. But as much as we love them, there's still a few things missing. So today I'm joined by Sanjoyan Mustafi. How are you doing, Sanjoyan?
Thank you, Vlad. I'm doing great. This is an awesome conference. And, last day we are recording this and I'm, very privileged and honored to join your show.
Well, thank you so much for being here. And why I wanted to get you on video today is because you've been working on something cool to bridge the gap between data access governance and a few of the gaps that were missing. And I love data access governance reports, what we have today. But one of the big problems people had is that it only looked at the last 28 days.
That is true.
So you get SAM, it's amazing. You take a look at the report, but you have no idea how bad your situation is. You only know how bad people were in the last 28 days. So that helps you keep your environment Copilot ready, but not necessarily get it there.
True.
But you told me you've been working on something cool
Yes.
to help solve that. Can you talk a bit about it?
Yes. And thanks for setting that up. It is true that we started our journey with audit-based data, where we track what is happening to your data, who is sharing, who is oversharing over a period of last 28 days. Well, as Vlad mentioned, several of our customers also mentioned to us that we first need to understand what is oversharing happening at this point in time, and then track what is going on in a transactional level on a month-on-month basis. So the big news, Vlad, is we are bringing in this report called Permission State Report. What does state mean? State means is what is the permissioning situation on a file, on a folder, or on a library or a site at this point in time. Tell me how many users have access now. So that is what the power of this new report is.
So it's kind of take a snapshot of my environment.
You use the right word, snapshot. Yes.
And then as you create a snapshot, you know everything. So if we look at it, and you gave me access to a quick early demo. So in data access governance, we're going to have a new option, content accessible to permissioned users. And from here, we create a new report. Can you talk a bit about the options we have
Absolutely.
when we create the report?
Absolutely. So you see, like any other report, you give a name to the report, of course, and then you choose whether you want to run the report against SharePoint sites or OneDrive. Yes, we now have the power to run your reports against all your OneDrives and SharePoint sites seamlessly. So you make the choice. You can further filter down based on template types, for example, communication sites, team sites, or any other type of template that you are using. You can also filter on sensitivity labels if you are using sensitivity labels. Finally, the main choice that you are going to make is whether you want to run an audit-based report or, as Vlad mentioned earlier, a snapshot report. And that's what we are going to choose today. And the very last option in this report is about the number of users you think you are going to track against the people who have access to SharePoint site. As an example, we can say that, oh, if I have to run this report, according to me, more than 1,000 users is defined as oversharing according to my company. So you can say, find all the sites which has contents that are shared with more than 1,000 people. Okay, and that's where you start.
Is there a minimum today on what is the minimum amount of users? Can I put it to 1?
It's a good question. Vlad always analyzes our product deeply. So you asked the right question. Today we have a limit of 100. You cannot in the report mention less than 100. However, good news, Vlad, is we are going to change that next year, where you can have 1. You can't have 0.
Of course, because if it's 0, you have other problems.
Yeah.
You have the owner report problem for that.
Nobody's using your site.
Yeah. Okay, so right now it's 100. However, it will go to down to 1 even in the future. Next year, next calendar year, fiscal
Next
year?
calendar year, definitely.
Okay.
We'll try to do it early.
I always ask when it's Microsoft, what year? calendar, fiscal, they're not the same. Okay, awesome. So we do the report. It takes a bit to run, I guess. I don't think it's instant.
I want to explain that part. Yes, you are absolutely right. It takes not a bit. It takes, depending on the size of the tenant, actually, it takes some time. And I'll explain why, Vlad. Because we have to go to each and every site, each and every library, folder, subfolder, any nesting that you have, all the files, every file, to find out whether you have broken inheritance on the file, and then extract the data, deduplicate the data, because you might have the same user having access to document A and document B. We do not want to count them twice. So we do all the cleanup and then roll up the data at a site level. So yes, it takes some time, but you can trust the data. We provide the clean data, again, depending on the number of sites.
Maybe a technical question. On the back, do you use Microsoft Graph Data Connect to build this? Because I know that's another way right now to take a snapshot, or did you build something really specifically for SAM?
I would answer it this way, that internally we built this data lake,
Okay.
where we pump in all the data on a regular basis and then extract the content. If you are trying to use Microsoft Data Connect, which you can do on your own,
Yeah.
however, this report will save you some effort, because you need to create the Data Connect, you need to connect it with Synapse, build a report, pull the data, and maintain this solution. If you just are looking for an oversharing based solution, I would recommend to run this report at least once. It's easy, couple of clicks,
Yeah.
and then you get that level of clarity around sites and files and folders that are overshared.
And this will be much cheaper than Graph Data Connect, because Graph Data Connect charges you on size, where this is included in the SAM license.
True, true.
Okay, so we wait a bit, the report runs, we see all our reports here, and after that, we open up the report and we have a ton of information.
Yes.
Let's talk about some of the columns that we see here on screen. The first one that I see is files containing sensitive data.
I would like to start with the first column, which is count of files.
Count of files,
Yeah.
yes,
So
perfect.
this is the first piece of information we provide in the report. So we say the site that has more than 100 users, because we started the report with that. And then we say, how many files do you have? Why that is important? Because we would like to stop oversharing of a site which has more number of files versus less number. So probably that is a measure or a metric for you to consider, that, oh, this site is highly exposed and has a lot of content in it. Then you are right. Then we are bringing in the new feature, which we don't have right now, but we will bring this information, which is we connect with the sensitive information type that you define in Purview portal. So we have plans next year to marry these two, so that not only this site has, let's say, 1,000 files, but 100 files have passport number or SSN number or credit card number and things like that, whatever you define as sensitive information type, and we'll show you that. All these are indicating how important the content of that site is.
It really helps to prioritize, because like you said, what is my most sensitive data? What do I need to secure right now? And that one, okay, has a lot of files, none of them are sensitive. It can be fourth or fifth on the line, but let's focus on the other ones. Then we see the broken permission inheritance. And I know we love SharePoint, very flexible, but flexibility can also bring complexity sometimes, where you can do everything, but also then you have, and here in the screenshot, you're lucky, you don't have a lot of them. No. I feel like usually you have more of them in real life.
Just in this example, we probably don't have, but we try to provide information that, oh, this site, the indicator of broken inheritance means that the site has been shared, or the contents of the site has been shared more and more number of times. So let's say, as an example, Vlad, you have a site which is 100 users at a site level. However, you have a couple of folders where you had contents that you have shared with the entire company. So it always happens that their site can be less shared, but individual content are more shared because of broken inheritance. So broken inheritance is an indicator of oversharing.
Awesome. After that, we have the everyone except external users, which hopefully should always be at 0.
I like the way you put it. Yes, I agree. Unless there is a reason for the content. Let's say I'll talk about Microsoft. Satya is making a video that he wants to share with all employees, like a keynote session. Okay, that is a good candidate for being shared across everybody, everyone except external. However, like a mergers or acquisition going on, that is definitely not a candidate
No.
for sharing with everyone, right? So we show the count of files, folders, or libraries that are shared with everyone in the given site. So more count means more chances of oversharing. Yeah. Ideally, it should be zero, as you said.
Ideally, it should be zero, right?
Yeah.
I know. I'm a big fan of just creating an all company group or all full-time employees and all contractors, and then worst case sharing with those, and kind of tell people avoid using that one. Like never use it. Here are other groups you can use that maybe you need to add 2 or 3 of them,
Correct.
but try to never use that one.
Yes,
So I would
yes.
say, hopefully that's zero.
Yes, that is right.
After that, we see the people in your organization links and anyone links, which are links that might cause oversharing because they
Yes.
are very wide.
Correct. Just to clarify one thing, people in organization link, or we all call company shareable link, is a link that you generate once and then the link can be passed across. Okay. And whoever clicks on the link gets access to the file. A small clarification is unless you click on that, you won't get permission to access that file or the site. However, the chances are that there is probability that more and more people can click it.
Yeah.
So again, this is an indicator of oversharing. If you have too many files which are shared with a link that is everybody accessible, then you want to reduce that depending on the sensitivity.
I like to call it, it's a key. You have a key, you hang it out there. Doesn't
I
mean
love
somebody
that.
entered the house, but they always have the key to enter it whenever. You leave the key there in the open.
I like that example,
So
yes.
like you said, a lot of people think the link existing makes that file show in Copilot for everyone. It's not true. They need to use that key, and after that, they can have access. And
But it's a dangerous key.
it's a dangerous key.
Yeah.
That's the thing, is you don't want to leave your key under the carpet. Under the carpet. You think it's hidden, but it's not. And the same thing for anyone links. Now, a big reason why this is such a high number in companies is because people are lazy. And if you set your default option, when people just copy link, anyone with edit permission, users are lazy. They're not going to go modify the permissions. They're just going to create links that can cause oversharing. I always tell people, try to change it at the site level to have people with existing permissions. This way you do not break inheritance on the file.
Yes, yes. I really like the way you put it. Jen, I will be honest, like an end user, we are all slightly lazy. Like I won't type your full name,
Yeah.
rather I'll just copy a link and just send it to Vlad in Teams and he will just click it and it just should work. However, that poses some challenges as Vlad explained, yes.
Then we have the site privacy, public or private, site sensitivity, which is really important to have, and finally, if external sharing is on or off. Do you know if in external sharing, we're going to be able to know, is it on with anonymous? Is it on with new invited guests? Or for now, is the plan to just have it on or off?
For now, we started with on or off. We'll see how customers, give us feedback and then open to, improvements.
Awesome. And okay, so now I have this big report, up to 1 million sites. I'm panicking. I'm scared. What's next?
Good question. So the step one was discovery. So as an admin, you ran the report, you said, give me all the sites which has more than 1,000 users or 100 users, etc. So you have your big list. Okay. You also have sorted the list on count of files maybe, or sensitive information type and things like that. As a second step, you can do one of two things. And it really depends on the business case. Let's say you identify a site, a finance site in your company, which is very common, or a legal site, which is also very common. You see that, oh, there are so many people that have access to this legal site, which they should not. So immediately you can apply a policy as an admin. And that policy is called restricted access control policy. So right from the report, you can select the sites and then apply the policy. However, in several cases, we have spoken to many admins across the industry. Because of business continuity and productivity, they don't want to apply a restrictive policy on day one itself. They would like to talk to the owner of the data, the real business owners, to find out what is going on with the data. So what we have done, Vlad, in this case is provide a way to give a workflow to the admin so that they can start a conversation with the site owner in a way that can be maintained across the system, the state. And then the site owners can now look at exactly the problem areas in their site and clean them up and then respond back. So this entire workflow now is inside the system as part of your reporting and action.
I love that we empower the business users because, as an admin, I know everything about the admin center. I don't know who works in your project. I don't know who should be there, who should not be there. So kind of we put that responsibility on the business owner and say, hey, take a look at everything and tell me, is there anybody you can remove? Does that look right? And we empower them while also as admins, let's be honest, less work for us because we put that responsibility on them to take care of their own stuff. So I love it. So we say, okay, Sanjoyan, you're the owner of this site. We think it might be overshared, but we want you to check it out. Go and validate it for us. You receive an email saying, Vlad told you to do it. Well, probably not Vlad, but your SharePoint admin asked you to do a review. You click on a link, and then you get to a site.
Correct. So you will get the email in context of the site that you own or you are admin of that site, and then it will specify in the email the link which will take you to a specific new page that we have created inside the site called Site Access Review page.
Okay. Awesome.
And in this review page, let me talk a little bit more on the details. This is how the page is going to look like. Let's say the site has 1,000 files, right? But it will be overwhelming if I have to go check individual 1,000 files and then find out where oversharing is happening. I'm a regular user. I'm not too much into this.
So you have a day job.
Absolutely. So what we have done is we have found out within a site exactly which files, which folders are contributing to oversharing, and then presented that. So in this example, you see this site had a whole bunch of files. However, the ones that you see on the screen are the primary contributors of oversharing for this site. We only present that information.
Okay. So I see here I have Contosa Finance. That's my SharePoint site level. And then I have a file, a folder. So those, I guess, are my broken inheritance.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. If you go to the next slide, in this example, let me talk about what are the different columns. If you look at my example on the very bottom, which is this Word file that we have. Now, you notice one thing. That is how many number of users that are uniquely permissioned to that particular file. In this example, it says 9,000. I know this is an exaggerated example, but in this case, it is slightly improbable for Vlad, who is the owner of this site, to individually share the file to all 9,000 users, right? So
I don't have that many friends. I'd like to say I do, but I don't have 9,000 friends.
Right. So now you are trying to understand why this has happened, and we need to help you with that. So the next column, which is the number of groups, you take a look at that, and then when you hover on the group count, it shows you a pop-up that each individual group that are ACLed or permissioned to that document, and then it will show you the count of members of those individual groups. And once you do that, you will see, oh, this specific group, Contoso Marketing, is permission to this document, and which had, say, for example, 7,000 users. So this is the major contributor for oversharing, and just by removing that one security group or one group from that file, you will dramatically lower down your chances of oversharing.
Awesome. That's amazing. Is there a way for me to have just one button to say, right now I know it's broken inheritance. Can I just have one button and be like, that was not supposed to be there? Can I just go back to the original file permissions? I know I can do it by going into file, site permissions, all of that, but from this, will I be able to have one button?
I love the way you put it. So what you are trying to say is that there will be a red button, big one, which will say, hey, I am non-compliant. Click this button and make me compliant.
Ooh.
We haven't yet designed that, but we are thinking about that, like to make the life of the end users
now
easier.
That you say it it makes me think of the staples. That was easy button, and just be like, make me compliant. Bam, tap on it, and then get it ready. And then I guess then after that you manage the exceptions, the people that, hey, they actually needed it, but is there a better way to add you to the full site rather than break permissions?
True, true. And this brings up a very good point that historically in SharePoint, people have created like folders and then used folders to be their boundary for giving permissions. And we highly recommend that you use the site as your boundary and not the folder. That way you keep all the permissions at the site level and all the related content in the site. And you don't need to create that, 10 level deep folder structure, and I have seen more, which is very complicated and hard to maintain for your users and admin.
But the thing is, I think the reason on the user side, because the Microsoft side, you're like, why do people do that? But on the user side is because back on the on-prem days, it wasn't easy to create a new site, right? If I wanted as a user a site, I would have to go to my admin, tell them I want a new site.
I hear it.
2 business days later, and then and I could just create a folder, change permissions. Life was good. Don't have to talk to IT. But now it's easy. You can create 2 million sites in SharePoint Online, I think is the limit.
Yes.
So
it's a soft limit, yeah.
Soft limit. Oh, cool. I didn't know that. But so now it's a lot easier to go create those sites and have permissions at the site level because we don't have that blocker, which in a way was IT before, that would stop us from creating sites and being productive right away.
True, true. The one last point I would like to mention is the column which says status. So what you can do is, suppose you have a genuine business case, you have a file that is meant for marketing or social, and you are trying to share this video or PowerPoint deck to all your customers out there who are external to your company. So yes, there is a legitimate reason for sharing this file more broadly. So in those cases, you can choose the option from the status and say whatever is your business context you can provide, and then give a justification to the SharePoint admin that this file or this site should remain like this. Okay, and then again, this is entirely auditable, so we track all this and then store all this information so that even in future the admin can go back and say we did generate a review and it was certified by the owner of the data, the business owners. And so again, as you said, Vlad, we put the owners back to the real people who understands that file,
who would know what that file is.
Exactly.
Awesome. And is there a way right now to just say, do an access review every 3 months? Like, with Enter ID and the access reviews over there, I can say every 3 months, email the site owners, I want a full site review part of the group. Can we have that kind of proactive scheduled, or are we more in a reactive mode where we do a snapshot or like those 10 are bad, we need to review those 10?
What you asked is absolutely legitimate. We are coming up with this feature called Auto Run. So you can, it's coming up early next year. So you can now say, I want to run this permission checking report every month or every 2 months or 3 months. But I have a point to make. Let's say you run this report against 10,000 sites that you have, right?
So I'm already scared.
So you do it once, you send the reviews to your site owners. Let's assume that your site owners does good work, they clean it up. I would say that from that time onward, you now run much more cheaper audit-based report. And the reason I am recommending first run the permission report and then the audit-based report is, once you reach a acceptable state, I will not say everything will be clean, but you reach an acceptable state. Now, by running the audit report, you will be able to monitor who is contributing to oversharing, because you now monitor the activity. Like Vlad is a good user, but last month Vlad shared this 10 files to thousands of people. Vlad, why are you doing that? I can have that
conversation. Problem, it's me.
So this is how you narrow down. Maybe you can find a pattern, and we can talk more later on that these kind of sites are getting overshared. So those detection can be done more, and you can actually go after the root cause of the problem better. So my recommendation is, yes, in practice you can, because we are giving the auto run feature, but you plan your next steps.
And when you talk about audit-based report, is more of the data access governance that we have today. Show me all the anyone links or people in my org links for the past 28 days.
Yes.
So those are the options we have now. Just because I know they're not called audit-based in the UI.
Sure.
We know how they run in the back, but for everybody there, it's the ones we have right now. and this is like the snapshot based.
Correct. So again, just to reiterate, this is a very important point. So as a report, we showed you that it will tell this site has, let's say, 100 company shareable links. Glad my site owner cleaned that up. So the count becomes 0. Now, if the count increases, I can track it. So, oh, I ran my audit report next month. Again, 20, company shareable link got generated. Why? I can ask that question, that why this is happening. So yeah.
Awesome. And today to run it, if I want to, can we get to this? Is this available today?
Actually, that's a good question. The UX that we are showing to you in this demo, this UX is going to get released early next year. However, today you can run all the stages that we spoke about using PowerShell commandlet, which is already released.
I love PowerShell.
You are a geek.
I mean, Nick, I know. It's coming to the UI, so I guess we'll have every option eventually, but I love PowerShell, so I don't
And
mind.
the reason I'll quickly explain, we started with PowerShell because in UI, suppose you have a really large number of sites with large number of content, it can be overwhelming to just scroll across. So we found it natural that people just download the report in CSV, which you can do today. So the PowerShell generates the CSV out of the box and just gives you the CSV so that you can do your own filtering, etc.
Awesome. More questions for you because I'm so intrigued with this. I love it. And also at the same time, I'm thinking at the access reviews in Enter ID. Is there a way that I can say if my user is lazy and they ignore me because they don't like me, can I do the big red button automatically?
We do not have a big red button
Well, I know.
from a SharePoint side right now. But if you are talking about entitlement management,
No, so in Enter ID access reviews, I can say if the owner takes no access, I can either not change anything, deny everybody. So like, you haven't answered, I'm removing everybody, or take the recommended action, which is Microsoft recommends whether, Sanjoyan didn't really go on this group, you should probably remove Sanjoyan. So kind of, the simple button to become compliant.
very good. Yes, you can definitely do that right now.
Okay, so I can say, hey, if the owner doesn't answer, auto fix it for him and make that site compliant.
Yes, you can do that. Yes.
That is awesome. And just in case the owner was on vacation and they come back and you have a very angry boss, is there an undo button?
So this is the excellent question. This is the reason admins, like I'm admin, I'm very afraid to change the permission of a site without talking to the business owner. Vlad is my business owner. He's on leave. He comes back. Who changed, the permissions of my site? My users are screaming at me because they don't have access. So we recommend to use restricted access control on that, because now how you can restrict is you define a security group, you put 10 people in it, and then apply that security group using restricted access control on the site. As soon as Vlad comes, he is talking to me and, oh, this site is overshared, why don't you clean up? You did clean up. So what he will do is he will just remove the security group from the site. And that way, whoever legitimately is supposed to get access will continue to have access. So he doesn't need to go back and think and remember, oh my God, I don't even remember who had access. That problem is not there. So I recommend using restricted access control.
That's so good. Because, restricted access control is a checkbox.
Yes, just
So
a checkbox.
kind of secure it meanwhile, and then once everything in the back is done, because Rack doesn't actually change any permissions on the files. It just adds that policy before, and after that you remove it, and now you have a clean site.
Exactly. It's like a protection umbrella across the site without changing the permission inside the site, unless you, of course, change it manually. So you will do the cleanup and remove the protection because now the site is in a desired state.
I love it. I don't know why I didn't think of that, but that makes so much sense. Awesome. I think you answered a lot of my questions. For once, I'm out of questions.
Is it? I feel good, Vlad.
I mean, if you want me, I can really take a look at more, but I can't wait to play with it. I know the documentation to run it via PowerShell is already live, and I'll make sure to put a link in the description below. If you have SAM, definitely try it out. If you don't have SAM yet, well, go get a trial and try it out right away, because the best time to secure your SharePoint environment is yesterday. As always, that's the best time. So start doing it today. Worst case, you get a free trial, 30 days, extend it to 60 days. And by then, the new licensing changes will come in effect. So you'll be able to get SAM at a very interesting price because it's now included with M365 Copilot.
You are right, and thanks for bringing this topic up. Yes, this is a good news we would like to share with you. We already announced this in Ignite. I know you covered that topic as well in your prior, video post. But yes, it is true what Vlad said, which is all the features as of today under SharePoint Advanced Management is going to be available if you have a Copilot license. So please talk to your Microsoft team and then find out more and then get the Copilot license, because I believe we all need to try Copilot, and then also before trying Copilot you can run all these reports, check your data, clean up your data, so you have peace of mind when you run Copilot and when you deploy Copilot.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for your time. This is amazing. I know I already started a PowerShell on my tenant, so I can't wait to see the result and start playing with it. But thank you so much again for your time and helping us educate us on how to make our SharePoint environment more secure. So
thank you, Vlad.
thank you for
I
being here.
appreciate it.
Thank you.